Hey everybody! Good morning. Oh, it's chilly out. The big window next to me, so I'm cold. All right, so we have decisions to make, paths to take. We wrote down a bunch of stuff at the end of the last stream, or I think the stream before that. Kind of gotta find where I wrote that all. But I want to work on the pillars. I want to work on the next project within the Giant's Dungeon. So let's just kind of get into it. This one? Yes. There I am. Alright, so we have our tiles. They have been primed, and also primed twice technically. So I primed them with my black paint, and then after I put the final touches on it, I put this guy on top. Which is a nice coat. It's a nice little dark off black, which I'm kind of digging. It definitely needs some Mod Podge ASAP because the paint's sticking. So that's good to know. Good morning, Brickmaster. But the tiles are looking good. Like, they have that nice ancient look to them. But what about this guy? About the same size. That's about the same size. Sick. Let's see. You're gonna definitely be used. You too. How about you? Ooh, beautiful. Same size. You just. Oh, you're just a little big, but you're perfect. So these will be the basis for the pillars. We should be able to walk out with all the pillars that we need out of these two large blocks too. Thankfully, I've already made a cut because I made this prototype. Where's the phone pointing? Because I have already made this prototype. It comes with a second pair. So we're gonna play with these. Could be in a better spot. Just mess around with that for a second. There we go. One, two. Oh, my mic is really low, especially compared to the music. 1 2 1 2 3 4 5. Hey, coming in hot. There we go. I should be able to just saw this. I've never cut acrylic before. Always a first time for something. There's a 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter, I think by 30? No, by 20. 20 centimeter long. So the plan is, it's already way too long. The plan is for this to actually live as a spine for the pillar. And that's going to go up from this LED, shooting upward. So we get a little bit of that going on, where it carries the light up. I believe it needs to be more frosted. Yeah, it needs to be more frosted. It being, you can see on the tip, I hope, it catches a lot of the light coming up. But for the most part, the body's not doing it until I angle it. So this is the plan so far. How tall does it have to be? So we want to put it essentially right here. What have we got? We're at 10.5. We want to be, honestly, 8.5. Okay. Let's get a marker. So I'm going to softly leave a mark. There we go. The thing is, looking at an LED, you don't really see color that much. You can see, but what you are seeing what's being colored is the things around the LED. So you want to think of colored light as paint more than anything. So if the paint's not hitting anything, then you're not actually painting light. There you are. Okay, without the LED as the base, we're looking at just under 8 inches. It's fine. It's the metric. So we're starting at just under 25 centimeters. We're essentially going to cut it at 20 centimeters. Okay, that makes it easy. Centimeters is basically the full height. And I can always compensate here to flush it up here. I feel like worst case is going to be like prototype number 2, since it's the first time I'm working with acrylic. Great. All right. I just saw it off. Where did I put my saw? I have a hand saw. Where did I put it? The Dremel. I think that'll do. I haven't got my saw blade yet. What blades do I have with the starter kit? Okay. So let's make a quick order for Dremel blades. I have them saved. Once I order these, we'll move on. So many cool like accessories you can get for a Dremel tool. It's kind of nuts. What blades are these? We have metal, plastic, there it is. Cart, I'll order them later. Without a saw, can't cut this. That's fine. Let's learn about how we can frost inside of this acrylic. My theory is, just scratch it up and it should catch it. I feel like it's not a terrible idea, but I want to see if there are any other ideas out there that essentially tell me I'm wrong. Acrylic catching light. How to cut acrylic ceiling light panels. No. Making backlight LED acrylic sign. Here we go. Let's see if I can show you what I'm watching. or I'm gonna mess it up. There we go. All right, so if we go to the top, let's go to the end. See the final product. So we have clear acrylic around them, the negative space, so it's not actually catching the light. The edge is catching the light because it is, you know, frosted. There's got to be a better word for that, but I'm using the word frosted. Grained. And that is essentially what's catching the light here, is a bunch of grain. So let's see how they put this together. Gather supplies, sandpaper. Sanding it might be the way to go. And they're doing their sponsor. No, they're not. They're just getting the photo. Okay. Black and white the photo. They negative it. Negative it. They're using their tool. I think this goes to a laser printer, or yeah, a laser cutter. The only good kind of negativity. It's essentially scratching it with whether the laser tip or whatever. Super strength. Good morning, Stig. And you can see it right there that the scratched sides of what makes up the picture is catching the light. Okay. Great. Super Simps. Oh yeah. Look at this art. If you guys haven't been in the Discord, check this out. This is the armor of the half giants, the orcs that worked for the giants that ran these dungeons. It's not the only armor. This is the frost variant that me and Clara made. It's pretty solid. Let's see. Go here. Okay. So to get this acrylic where we want it, I get the blade for my Dremel to cut the acrylic, and then get some sandpaper to sand up the sides so it catches the light. Cool. I'll keep the LED there. So we'll come back to the acrylic on the next stream when I should have all the parts. Until then, we can work on this. Looking at the prototype, we made a cut point right there. That's so? Yes. We essentially cut here to make this gap versus digging it out. We can actually just make a cut. It makes the most sense. Sneaky. I was super close with my guesstimation. That's funny. I'll explain what I'm doing in a second. Bam. So, what you guys are seeing me do right up here is I'm making these indents to give it a look like we put a slab on top. Instead, we're actually cutting it out. Millimeters in. There we go. Cut the side that can't sit on anything. Oh, why didn't I cut that straight? That is straighter. Great. So let's measure how far I cut in last time. 2. It's about 2. Okay, so we want to cut 2 millimeters deep. 2. Hey, settle down. There we go. Did I break my pencil? No. 2. Okay. Now it'd be easier if it was a flat surface. Great. I made a line successfully. Filter on. Give me a second. Give it to me. Give me the seconds. There we go. Now you can hear my phone. There. There we go, nice and neat. Just the way it's supposed to be. Around the other sides. This is supposed to be about 2 or 3 in. 3. A lot of measuring, a lot of slow work. I hope you guys are having a great Sunday. Assuming it's Sunday for you. sleeves. Okay. It's gonna be a little tricky. Very small cuts. Let me see if I can zoom in. On the loose gaming process, always interesting. I like the final product. Always look cool, but seeing how creative people make cool stuff always blows my way. Oh, thank you very much. That's cool. I highly recommend checking out the previous streams where we made these magnetic tiles. So that way we can randomly roll our dungeons. Very easy, very doable for anyone. Worth checking out. Let's just make these cuts. A little turn there. Let's fix that. Now we just gotta line up the sides just right. How do you make the pattern? Do you mean this little pattern in here? With a pen. After I use a roller. So I roll it on, and then I'll take a pen and go through and kind of press a little bit. The thing with the pen, though, it starts making it look like it's hand-drawn. So if you don't like that aesthetic, don't do that. Just press harder or go back and forth a couple times with the roller. I wanted a little bit of that hand-drawn effect. The line the other way. Okay. There we go. Now it looks like there's a slab built onto it. When we look at our tiles, we have that slab slapped on effect. The way we did it for the tiles, though, is we actually had two pieces, glued them together. So now we're going to cut off the tips, the little corners. Two and a half. 1, 2, 2.5. So I could cut there. Is it better as a single piece or as a two-piece? I think a two-piece so we can get this effect right there. Okay, so well, a lot of the games right now have been recorded, so these aren't going to pop up in the actual gameplay part. In the current one I'm editing, Lost Mines of Colossus, I do want to make a couple B-roll shots with these, so that would be nice. But then there's also future games that we still need to record that these are going to be a part of, on top of the community games where backers get to play and these tiles are going to be used too. Yeah, the games are always recorded before the minis are made. It's a situation that I find myself in way too often. But when I need to get an establishing shot, like, oh, you find a giant dungeon door, right? I can get a B-roll shot of it, and we can film this, and then I can add it into the edit, and it'll have a nice, cool look. And then in the future games, they'll just be there. I gotta go make a cut here. Wire cutters are the best. Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, I would have this stuff done before the games, right? But in a perfect world, I would have world build everything before the game. Whereas what I like to do is have the games themselves inform some of the world building. let some of the improvisation from me and the improvisation from my players kind of establish things and make them canon. It also took me a really long time, way longer than I thought it would take, to kind of grasp and wrap my head around the architecture of the giants in my world. And you really never want to be stuck in the situation where you're just world building and not playing. Exactly. There we go. So this piece would go here. That being said, if you go to like Curse of Amity Island, I have a lot of great minis. And at the finale of Curse of Amity Island, when I'm using these massive giant like Morian dwarven pillars, canonically they're probably more like these. But that's what I had at the time. And as cool as it is to show off custom-made minis, on a meta level, knowing that I'm putting this out in the world, I think it's also important to show a little bit of scrappiness. So people who want to be DMs or world build, or even just make D&D content, it's like, you don't have to be as perfect as other people. Just make it up as you go. Make it work. Have a good time. If anything, that's been the philosophy on this channel since its conception. Just make it and get going. Alright, now that I have this, I technically draw one more line down. Yeah. And then we can glue those together. Chance! It's a stream! Sure is. Your eyes aren't fooling you. There we go. It's a little more tedious than I thought it would be. at that. Really got the effect down. It's not perfect. There's some scratches and cuts. They're a little wonky. But, you know, once I texture everything, that's going to get hidden. Starting a campaign with friends next summer. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm tired. Oh. I'm trying to not have coffee. So I am in the start of world building and such. Oh, I feel you. I feel you, buddy. Oh, I mean, my world is what, 5 years in the making at this point? And I'm just getting to architecture. Okay, so it would glue there. Where's the acrylic? The acrylic rod would probably line up here. Okay. Let's go to the other piece and try to replicate what we just did. Let's see if we can do it faster. Maybe some guesstimations to make it smoother. Need to prep for your next game. If you want to learn how to save some time on your prep, we can talk about that. This. There we go. Cut that out. It's mostly writing down the session cliff notes and drawing out my maps. Do you mean like your dungeon maps? Because if you just need to draw out your dungeon maps, I got a cheat for you. All right, Chance. I'm gonna make your day. Here you go, buddy. Whoop. Let's roll some dice together. Am I going the right way in this book? Sometimes I never know. I should just remember the page. 130. There we go. Shadow Dark. I don't know if you have this book, Chance. But we're doing it. Alright. So what we got? We're going to roll to see how big of a dungeon your game's going to have, Chance. You can not do this at all, but you can also just take this. So, we have a D6. We're going to figure out if it's small, medium, or large. Large. Great. It's going to be a large dungeon. Let's just use this single piece of paper. Being a large dungeon, we need 12 D10s. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Bring this in a little bit. There we go, just to give them a little space. Ta-da. Turn up my mic. My mic's kinda high, Allie. How dare you? Music is pretty high. There we go. Okay, so we want to write down the numbers that we have on the die. This is a 10, a 9, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 10. We have 2 10s. 9, 3 10s. Dang. 5. This is your dungeon map. Now, you could roll to see what type it is, whether it's a cave, a tomb, deep tunnels, or ruins. Do you know what your dungeon type would be? Is it a ruin? Is it a cave? A mine? If you don't know, we can roll for it. Let's just say cave. Great. I'll put a cave down here. Okay, we have a number 1, which is technically considered an empty room. 1s and 2s. So this is an empty. So you have 3 empty rooms in this dungeon. The beautiful thing about empty rooms, they're perfect places to rest. Okay, we have 3, which is a trap. 4, do we have a 4? Right here, a minor hazard. 5 back here is a solo monster. 6, do we have a 6? No. 7, no. 8 is a major hazard. 9 is a treasure room. I think we have 2 9s. Yeah, we have a treasure room right here too. And then 10 is a boss monster. And we have a few of those. There we go. Okay. What kind of trap do we have? We have a D6. 4. It is a sturdy, toxic trap. Okay, that's interesting. Then let's go to our number 4, our minor hazard. 5, collapsing walls. All right, 5 for our solo monster. 1, a sneaky ambusher. What we got here? 7, 8. Major hazard. 6. A drowning hazard. Okay. Sneaky. Yes, I will ambush. You have 3 rooms for 1 boss to spread out the fight. You can also do that chance. You can have the boss leave, run to this one, leave to run to this one. Absolutely. There's a lot of options here. So for the treasure rooms, 3, guarded by a monster, and 6, protected by a hazard. So we can put the hazard one up front. I'm going to say this is where we're going to start the dungeon down here. Let's put protected by hazard. Let's figure out what kind of hazard it will be. Here we go. We have a the hazard is a long fall. So kind of like a crevice, it's protected by this chasm that you have to cross to get to some of the treasure. And the treasure could be simple. It could be a chest, maybe a couple chests. And that has some items that can help them through the dungeon. And the other treasure room. 1, Hidden. Okay, hidden treasure. Let's jump over to these boss. 3. So we can put guarded by minions. We might move that. 5. Got guarded by minions again. It's kind of a good thing, actually. All right, what's the next one? 2. And then you have the leader over here. Great. So as the boss moves from room to room to room, they have guarded minions each step until finally you have the solo fight here. Cool. So the way I see it is we'll put a dotted line attaching the 10 to the 10 and a direct line between these two and there. The dotted is essentially secret. We will make treasure room there a secret and a secret path to the 10 there. And then we'll have a straight path here. So to get to the end, they could just go straight like this. They could. Another way into the dungeon, we will figure that out. So from 2, we have a trap and a toxic. So this empty room needs to be a place to rest. Collapse walls, minor hazard. Okay. So they go from empty to empty. And you kind of just are, you can, in this empty, you can close the door behind them. You can have information on the walls hinting to things later in the dungeon, and you're kind of just building tension here. Get to collapsed walls. I would say the path backwards gets collapsed. And it's a dex check. So let's do dex. Dex 12. Dex check or a dex save. And they dodge the walls, and the walls collapse behind them. There's no way going back and taking the shortcut anymore. Now they have to pursue forward. I think this empty room over here can have a secret passage as a exit entrance. So they could escape the dungeon here, or if they look around outside, they might be able to find this one too. Let's put a secret connecting them from this 2 to this 10. So there's a possibility for them to go this way still. Well, then they have to go to the major hazard, which is a drowning hazard. So we want strength checks and constitution checks. From there, they would go... I would have a secret path from the drowning hazard into the treasure room, the hidden treasure room. Probably under the water into like a secret tunnel. Or they can go to straight to 5, which has a solo sneaky ambush monster. Sneaky as the volunteer, of course, in the chat. And that can lead them to the boss. And we want another exit entrance over here. Or you have them go all the way back. Yeah, then they have to go all the way back, and they can find the secret passageways to get to the 2 entrances or exits. Let's put a secret in the first room that goes straight to the boss as well. So they don't have to go through the treasure room. There you go, Chance. There's your dungeon. But what you can also do is take this with tiles. Like you said, you were going to craft some terrain. Well, that's where my tiles for these ancient dungeons come in. So the entrance room would be a 1-tile room. My philosophy being that this is made by giants, I could probably increase it to something like this, and it'll be fine. This is the entry room. So my thing is, you have wiggle room. The number tells you how many tiles it would be, with a wiggle room of like 2 to 4 extra tiles. So we go from the empty room to the empty room, which you can just describe as a hallway, and that's fine. And you can say, you could take the hallway continues forward, and if they look, they can find a secret passage to the right. They find the treasure room, which is a 9-tile space. You don't really need a tile, you just really need a room, and we have a large fall, so you could have like cut the room in half, right? And you have treasure on one side. They have to figure out a way to get across the crevasse to get to the treasure. Treasure could be chests full of potions, scrolls, probably like 1 scroll, 2 potions tops, especially if they have a cleric. The boss room is 10 tiles plus, so you could just have one big room for the fight. For that, I would recommend figure out your story. I don't know what your story is. Find a way to, because you said cave. You definitely want some high and low levels. So I would have foam, for example, and build spots where terrain can be high or low, just like in a cave. Places to take cover and stuff like that. Especially if it's going to be a big room with guarded minions. How many minions? We have 4 minions plus boss. How many minions in the next room? 6 minions plus boss. And remember, the minions can count as kind of like a temporary HP. For every minion that goes down, you're wait, let me word that better. If you get to 0 minions or half HP on the boss. The boss flees to the next room. If the boss flees, the minions that are survive disband. They escape. They can maybe reveal that there are secret passages here because they're trying to escape, because their morale is broken. If you get to halfway through your minions, so for this room 2, you can roll a charisma check to kind of see how their morale is doing. Just do a DC 10. If they roll below, they kind of disband. If they roll above, they stay and keep fighting. So go to the dex check room with the collapsing walls. You know, shape your room the way you want to shape it. Let's do it something like that. That's cool. Players come in here, roll dex check, things collapse here, and they have to continue. And as they continue, a smell of toxic air as they come closer to this way fills it, and you can kind of hint that the next room's going to have some toxins in there, some poison in the air, and there's no way to go back or anything. And you can just keep doing that with your tiles. Make some pre-generated maps and put them in my map book. This is all you need, man. If you want to add an extra level to this, you can make arrows communicating if it's going down or up. So the smaller end of the stair drawing, the smaller end of the arrow is pointing downward. So this would be going downstairs. This would be going upstairs. So you can do that, and you can kind of get a sense of depth as well. The reason why I say you should do this instead of spending an afternoon to perfect this and to make it beautiful is, unless the players are going to get a hold of this and you hand them your map, you don't need that extra detail in there. You can use this as your blueprint. Because what they're going to interact with is the tiles and what you craft, or the story elements that you add to these details, right? This is just foundation. You take this, you experiment with what the tiles or the room's going to look like in the way you're crafting it. That's more important than perfecting the map. Knowing who the boss is, who their minions are, what are they doing here, why is the boss in this cave, right? Having that locked in, far more important than having a perfect looking map. I'm gonna say this keeps going deeper. I'm going to say this is a spiral staircase. Right there. That would be fun. And then we can do another spiral staircase right here. So I know how to narrate the dungeon as we're going. And then because we have water, we can just have this be a small set of stairs there. And then you actually go up. as you were going down, you go down deeper into the drowning spot, but then you have to climb upward to get to the rest. So this is kind of like a pit situation. So now it has a three-dimensional experience to it. So all this map needs, we have a cave, and it's large, right? Stairway, because it's a cave, it's not actual stairways, they're paths and steps baked off the rocks. You can have the spiral steps be chasms where they actually have to climb down. It just needs its lore and story. The lore is the history of the cave. The story is plot of bad guys. Spiral stairs or deep brain, what are you thinking? Yeah, that's what I thought. There we go. Deep chasm. Spiral stairs. Or deep chasm. Straight stairs. Or winding path. That is that way. Put the arrows to go up. Did I do these backwards? I don't think I did. There you go, bud. This dungeon will satisfy an entire party for 1 to 2 days. Maybe longer. And now you can spend that afternoon focused on history and plot. Pick the monsters that you want. Get their stats. Figure out what the treasure is. Figure out how you want to decorate the rooms. Figure that out. Oh. Or at least that's what I would do. But who am I but just a crazy guy online? After the game, I would put in your map book, personally. If you want to add details to this, like make it a detailed looking map, wait till after the game, because you'll be shocked on how much this will evolve based on your players' choices. I could put this on the Discord later. Where was I? I was here, working on this. Oh, absolutely, Chance. Show your stuff off. Let people give you suggestions. You don't ever have to take them. Sometimes one of their suggestions could be confirming a thought that you had, or proving a thought that you had isn't right. That's the beauty of collaboration. Okay. There we go. Should be 2.5. Sticking my head in the camera. There we go. Go hot wire cut this super quick. Right. No, well. How you treat foam makes me want to be more playful and playful with cuts and designs. Heck yeah. Obviously, if there is something specific that you want to achieve, right? Well, you might want to be more precious with your cuts. That's fair. I messed that up. But you're making toys. Don't have to treat it like you're making the Empire State Building. Is there a reason why you're making pillars asymmetric? Because it looks sick as hell. No, that's just the architecture design for pillars for the giants that I just came to like. I like the idea that they're probably going to be flush to some degree against a wall, and they show off the light this way. They could put it against the wall and have it come out this way. It has this like Forerunner halo aesthetic that I really dig, and so that's kind of why I'm going with it. The giants were, yes, they were in a Stone Age period, but they had metal because they had elemental powers and they pulled metal from the minerals. They made Jotun stone, which was made of iron cement and meteorite. And that allowed them to conduct a lot more magic than there ever has been before. And so at the time, it would feel somewhat science fiction. But that being said, they were still a Stone Age. So all this like asymmetrical sci-fi adjacent looking stuff is actually primitive. I do have to make this a little bit smaller. All right. Cut this in half. There we go. That going in half, we can... Do I go all the way around? I do. Oh, Noelle, you're too kind. Have a good week. Thank you so much, Noelle. There we go. And they achieve the prototype, but a little bit more elegantly. So I'll glue these bottoms to the tops. And then they need a foundation. This rock. So how does that work with a tile? Does it need a tile to go with it? It might. Have the base of the pillar be a full-on tile so they can connect. That's not a dumb idea. Have to make a couple extra tiles. Oh yeah, that'd be sick. All right. Cool. All right, so the next steps, let's glue this and we can call it for the day. As we know, we have to wait for wait for the Dremel blade so I can cut the acrylic, sandpaper. I gotta make some new bases for this. Yeah, I can have that all ready for Thursday. No problem. Because I do also want to get some editing done today. Put the glue there, Scotch tape. Just to help. There we go. This is a complicated pillar piece. Definitely don't want to make too many of these. It'll take forever. But this will look good. Yeah, the big achievement will be cutting this and then sanding it so that way it catches the light up the pillar. That would be sick. All right, everyone. What did we do today? We cut pieces of the pillar. We walked through the plan for the acrylic. Collected some foam. We drew out a dungeon using Shadow Dark's dungeon generator, which is meant to pair with these tiles anyway. So another great exercise in drawing dungeons and thinking through them. And now I need to go eat and go for a walk and edit. Edit much. Many. Most. More. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for the short little morning on a Sunday. I hope you guys are having a great rest of your weekend, rest of your week, And you know what? In case I don't see you, have a great day, afternoon, evening, and of course, good night.